Hey, good morning, everybody. It's the 15th of July, and let's see. My wife's recovery is coming along pretty well. Mine's not necessarily coming along as fast as I would have hoped. I've got just a little bit of a tendon damage left to heal up from, and it's kind of manifests in itself like plantar fasciitis, but not quite in the arch area, kind of up on the side part of the foot. So I'm still kind of working with that a little bit. I've got a wedding to go to here in Arizona, and then I hope to be able to by then jump back on the trail and head up north. Decision I have to make is, do I want to go ahead and just start hiking north from New York there, knowing that I probably won't get to Katahdin, or do I want to go ahead and maybe go up and hike Maine to Katahdin and come back and just hike south as long as I can. I have some decisions to make. I was prepared to flip last year, but I really do kind of want to have the Katahdin to be the kind of the last moment on the trail where you get to kind of finish it up. So we'll see. Okay, so what you're about ready to see are some series of videos where I look at the ZPack Duplex tent and my Fly Creek UL2 by Big Agnes. I have been really contemplating maybe going to a ZPack as a way to lose some weight off of my base weight, but one of the things that Early Riser mentioned there towards the end is having something freestanding is definitely advantageous as you get towards the end of the trail. Well, ZPack does make a carbon kit, if you will, for the tent, and my friend Jesse has that. So I borrowed his tent so I could take a look at it. It was getting ready to rain, so I thought, you know what, let me do a test with these two tents with the water factor, because in the end, if you add the carbon fiber poles to it, you'll see that the weights are actually pretty comparable. But packing the one up wet versus the other one, I thought for sure was probably a big difference. So I put that to the test. And I apologize because there's a couple of videos that somehow my camera decided to orient differently instead of landscape. So there's a couple of times when you see the scale where it's 90 degrees out, and I haven't figured out how to reorient the video. So, but don't worry about taking notes on any of the specifications, because I'll put a little table together here at the end that'll kind of summarize what I noticed and what I saw. It may help people make a decision. I mean, if you really, the difference in price is about $300 between the two setups. So if that is an issue for price, then this will maybe perhaps present an option for you. I was actually surprised in the end. All right. So here they are. Well, we've got some thunder rolling here in Florida, but my friend Jesse lent me his ZPack Camo tent with the freestanding carbon fiber poles, and want to see how it does in the rain. And we put it up several hours ago, but have yet to actually have it rain. So anyway, we want to kind of see how it does. I'm really interested because right now this setup is the same weight as my Big Agnes. So justifying going to it's pretty hard, unless it comes down to packing it up in the rain, because I do sleep better in my tent than I do in the shelter. But oftentimes when it's going to rain, I would go to the shelter because I just didn't want to have to pack out a wet tent because it was so heavy. So if we can get this, if we can get a rain to come and see how it does, and then pack it up wet, if you will, and see if there is a weight penalty as a result. If not, then it might be worth the money going to a ZPack setup just to be able to pack it up wet and not have the weight penalty that the sil nylon gives you when it's wet. So, all right, as of right now, we're just waiting for the rain to come. All right, well, it's the next day, and we've got some nasty clouds here, so maybe we will get some weather. One of the things I've noticed over the last 24 hours having the tent set up, it is harder to get it, the fabric really taut. And matter of fact, we ended up using the side tie outs here to be able to do that. And you can see now I've got just a little bit of wind here. You can see that it's, by the time you do the tie outs on the side here for the doors, then it pulls down, okay, on that top corner, making the fabric a little more loose here. So kind of curious how it's going to hold up in the wind, if you will. And Millie, my dog, she kind of matches the camouflage, doesn't she? Don't you, Millie, huh? So we'll see how it is here. Hopefully we'll get a little bit of rain and sprinkling right now. Well, it's been lightly raining for about an hour, and so I decided to come out and get in the tent since there's a nice long line of thunderstorms kind of approaching. Just get to see how loud it is. A little bit louder than the still nylon, I think, but when it rains, and you're going to have earplugs with you anyway. One of the things I noticed with the, with this particular freestanding tent, you've got a lot more sag here along the seams. May not be a big deal. Anyways, calming down a little bit here. It got pretty loud for a second there, but I'm interested in seeing how much splashback I get now. In all fairness, I got it pitched out here on my grass, so it's going to absorb a lot of the splash up. So it may not be an issue out here. But the big thing, like I said, I want to try is once it's done raining, is to come out and fold it up like I would if I were backpacking, and then go out and weigh it and see how much of the water comes with it. So anyway, more to come. With the extra water weight on the tent right now, you can see that I don't really have a bathtub. And on this Tyvek, now I'm on a slope, and so it's really slippery. But you can see that that's pretty flat down there, I think, because of the weight of the water pushing down on the tent. Okay, this flap is tied on the left side, but this one is not, and you can see there's great overlap there. I really don't think you'd have to tie those unless you have a lot of wind, because it's pretty hard to get at them from this back side. Matter of fact, I think it's almost nearly impossible when you're inside the tent to actually button those down unless you're really tenacious. You'd have to make sure that undisconnected down there, and then tie that up. I'll try it and see if that's even possible. Nope, I was wrong. I stand corrected. Best thing to do is I laid on my back and I leaned out, and you can just come in this way, and you can connect it just fine. Matter of fact, it's almost easier to do it from the inside than it was on the outside, believe it or not. But you definitely have to kind of lay down to do it, I found. So I noticed I've been getting some condensation on the inside of the tent, which is expected in a single wall since it's been so high humidity, and I'm on this green grass here. So I went ahead and opened both sides to get a little bit of ventilation. Besides that, I was getting pretty hot, just to see how it does. My initial impression is, I think if they had the trekking poles, I think you get a much tighter pitch here, and you get a much better protection with this door pulled out a little bit better away from the screen here. So you can see I've already got, that's water. I've already got some water penetration right there from that. So I don't know. I think my overall assessment is probably a great idea to have a freestanding option, but maybe not so much in a rain, or at least maybe not for long periods of rain. I think the trekking poles give you a much better pitch for now. Okay, I've got a pretty good rain coming down right now. given that I'm on a slope, it's making this side sag a little bit, and I definitely had to close up the vestibule. Otherwise, the rain would definitely be coming in and getting the inside of the bathtub wet. It's not really blowing, so it's coming down straight, but since I'm on a slope, that could kind of simulate it blowing, if you will. So you probably have to just put up with the inside condensation. And to be honest with you, with this much humidity, I'm not sure any breeze is going to help, because between the grass and my breath, it's going to condensate. There's not much you can do about it. I don't find the noise annoying at all. I think with a set of earplugs, it'd be very soothing to listen to the rain on the fabric. But I haven't been in one of these tents with the trekking poles yet, so my gut tells me that I would probably get a better pitch out of it, and that may help maybe perhaps the ability to keep each of the vestibule doors open to help out with cross flow of air. Okay, it kind of continued to rain for about another hour, just lightly. I'm going to go in and do what I would normally do, and take a small towel and wipe out any condensation on the inside. I'll shake it off on the outside, and then I'll collapse it and fold it up and then go weigh it. Okay, inside of the tent, really, there wasn't hardly any condensation. Maybe after I left, it took my breath outside of the tent, it kind of stopped condensing. But inside of the vestibule doors, they were quite wet from condensation. That's natural, because they're over top the wet grass that's giving off a lot of humidity. I shook the tent off, but I don't know if you can see, there's still some pretty big drops of rain, and I think I would just leave it that way. If it was still raining out here a little bit, I'm debating whether I should make an attempt to at least dry off the tent. I know my big Agnes is, you're just wasting your time because it soaks it up. So, but I might just do that, just run a quick wipe down of it. So I'll go ahead and do that, and because it is just sprinkling ever so slightly, I'll probably transition right into folding it up. And I went ahead and kept the doors closed, so it'll protect the inside bathtub from getting wet. Okay, 1 pound 12 ounces is what it weighs now. 1 pound 12 ounces. So that's 16 plus 12. It's 28 ounces wet, as you would take it down after a rainstorm. So the poles, slightly damp, the way they would be if I picked them up off the wet ground, which I did. Weighed out at 9 pounds and 7/8 ounces, and they're supposed to be 10, so they're under spec, even with being a little bit wet. Okay, so wanted to compare apples and apples and oranges and oranges. If you remember, the carbon fiber tent poles were just a little under 10, and this is 7.5 ounces for the poles for the big Agnes. Okay, and I forgot to video it, but just came over to get his tent the other day, and I had it in the garage all drying, and it was nice and dry, and we packaged it up and put it on the scale, and it came in its stuff sack. It was a 23 and like 1/8 ounces, and so this is dry in its stuff sack coming in at, let's see, that's 24 1/4. Okay, so it's a good ounce heavier. The interesting difference, I think, is going to be if when I set this up and it gets rained on here, and hopefully today rain's supposed to be coming in, and I can pack it up wet as I would if I were backpacking. I think that's where a big advantage for the Z-Pack is going to come in. Okay, so you guys have seen my big Agnes Flight Creek EL2 before. Take away the time I spent in the hammock on the trail, I've got about 1,300 miles in this tent. I think I've
talked about it before for you, but put it on the same slope as the Z-Pack. It's nice and sunny now, but you'll hear some thunder roll here in a minute. Got a storm coming in, so I'm gonna let it get soaked and pack it up like I would if I were backpacking, and put it on a scale and see what kind of water weight we ended up with. So, all right, you know that this design, this is a 2016, and couple issues with rain that I have is, and everybody does, the bathtub back here in the back is a little exposed, and so you get a lot of bounce back up into the foot box, which means your bag can get wet. I think they solved it for 2017. I mean, there's not much room there between the. Now with the grass, I'm not going to get much bunch back, splash up, if you will. But when you're out to camping, you don't always have nice grass to set up on. That I never did. The other issue is if you are easier for me to use this zipper. But if you are getting out of this tent and it's raining because you need to go to the bathroom, rain is going to come into your bathtub when you open that screen door. Okay, and the other issue that I've had is I've got some leakage here at this seam. All right, let's see how it does in the rain, and we'll check back with you here. Okay, I had a rain shower pass while I was gone, and came home to just here at sunset to a tent that's pretty wet, as if it would be. I mean, recently rained. I'll shake it off like I normally would here, and going to pack it up and put it in. Let me see if I can determine if I had any compromises on the inside here real fast. Sorry about the angle of the camera there. It's one thing about sill nylon. So this is a thing that's it's where the advantage goes to. Oh, I have to come up here. The advantage comes to, and it is dry inside. So the advantage goes to the Cuban fiber because it doesn't sag. As you can see, this when this material gets wet, it definitely sags, and of course, then if it does sag enough, it touches the inside of the tent, and then it acts as a conduit, a wicking conduit to then pull the moisture in. So I'm going to go ahead and pack this up and go throw it on the scale. Okay, so here's the tent, the rain fly, and the bag here, and that is see, 1 pound is 16 ounces, so that's 29 ounces wet.
Okay, here's my conclusion. As you can see, they're actually pretty comparable weight-wise when you start looking at the option of using the carbon flex poles for the ZPacks Duplex. Now this is just my setup versus what I want. If you really are going to do a kind of a head-to-head or head-to-toe comparison, you probably have to look at the Big Agnes copper spur UL2, because it is got the dual vestibule, so it's probably more comparable of a design. And this year's model of the Fly Creek and it's 13 ounces heavier than the Fly Creek. So if you really look at maybe more of an actual tent to tent, the ZPacks Duplex is definitely lighter. And of course, if you leave off the reflex, those carbon poles, then it's almost 10 ounces really lighter than the Big Agnes. So that's pretty significant. Now, what does my gut tell me? Well, when I packed up my big Agnes when it was wet and how it felt in its stuff sack, it did not feel as heavy as it has in other past loadouts when I've had to pack it up wet when I've been backpacking. So I think if anything, that wet body weight of 29 ounces is on the light side. Because I swear that that thing has felt like it's been more like 5 pounds at times. Now probably it's really more like 3, which is, I mean, that's significant amount of weight. But so that's on the light side. The Duplex really does shed the weight with the water. And like I said, I think its advantage is you can set up that Z-Pack tent in the rain just because of how it's designed without getting water in the bathtub. The big Agnes, you'll get water inside of it unless you are able to set it up inside, like underneath a shelter, and get the rain fly on it, and then can carry it out and set it down. Otherwise, you're going to get water in it. So I think probably the Z-Pack is really a superior tent. Now, I said about $300 cost difference. I was noticing on REI that the big Agnes now is almost $390 for the Fly Creek Eel 2. And they have designed it so that it is a little more upright at the entrance and the foot box to be able to keep the rain out better. And the copper spur is almost $450 now. It's like $449. So I mean, it's the Z-Packs is it used to be kind of like a double price type thing, and now it's not anymore. So its value is definitely there. So if that's what you want, I don't think you can make a mistake either way, to be honest with you. And weight-wise, I think if you went with the carbon poles for your Z-Packs to make it a freestanding tent, you're not going to really suffer weight penalty-wise versus this big Agnes Fly Creek. All right, everybody. Hope this has been helpful. I'm looking at some carbon core tent stakes next as a possible way to save some weight over my groundhogs. So look forward to that review here coming out shortly.